Why is society more accepting of bisexual women, but they really, really hate bisexual men? Doesn't make sense. Fetishization does not equal acceptance. It's not the same thing. But we're gonna get into it.
Here back with another video for you today. Thank you all for watching. We're currently 392 subscribers deep in the domination, so if you haven't already, make sure you like this video, comment down below with any questions you have, or if you want to tell me I'm pretty, I like that a lot, and share and subscribe. I make new videos every Monday, Thursday. Today we're going to be discussing both bisexuality and pansexuality because today is September 23rd, 2020, and also every year, September 23rd is BiVisibility Day. Actually, this custom started only back in 1989 in Johannesburg, South Africa, by three bisexual rights activists, Wendy Curry of Maine, Michael Page of Florida, and Gigi Raven Wilbur of Texas. And this day is to bring special attention to the discrimination that bisexual and pansexual people face in both straight spaces, the mainstream, straight spaces, and then also in LGBT spaces, because I definitely have seen some tweets and some messages saying that all bisexuals should die, and I'm just like, okay. So let me get into phobia that exists in our society. So first, you do have people in the media that are pushing these notions. They don't see bisexuality as an actual sexuality, or that it's just a fake.
Like girls, you like girls. If you don't, then you don't. It's not a maybe type of situation. I don't understand, is if unless you like to lick vagina, why would you be a lesbian? Because guys have nipples, so you could lick their nipples. Strap on, guys have real things, so what's wrong with that? If you like your just find a guy that likes to eat. Have you made out with a girl before? I made out with a lot of them.
Really?
Not a lesbo.
I'm strictly dickly. I'm scared out of my mind to do something like that. What if we turn lesbian? That's so gross.
I don't want to see two women kiss, but she's kissed women before. And to me, that's contradiction.
I don't understand what's going on or why you don't know what you like.
Shut up right now.
I don't go to the club. Let me make out. Hey, wait.
Yo, son,
I'm a lesbian
right now.
I said I don't understand.
Now
Which I already told you.
I can't stand closed-minded people, and when people hear what you said, they're gonna hate you for it, and I hate you for it.
Get off.
Tell me a little date.
You're gay, Blaine.
I thought I was, but I've never even had a boyfriend before. Isn't this the time you're supposed to figure stuff
I can't
out?
believe that I'm hearing this
Maybe
right
I'm
now.
bi. I don't know.
Bisexual is a term that gay guys in high school use when they want to hold hands with girls and feel like a normal person for a change.
Oh, wait. Why are you so angry?
Because I look up to you. I admire how proud you are of who you are. I know what it's like to be in the closet, and here you are about to tiptoe back in.
I'm really sorry if this hurts your feelings or your pride or whatever, but however confusing it might be for you, it's actually a lot more confusing for me. You're 100% sure who you are. Fantastic. Well, maybe we all can't be so lucky.
Tweets I just got straight up from Googling biphobia Twitter images, and they really do quickly reflect biphobia that's currently in our society. Straight, married, bi girls are like those kids who studied abroad in college, and 5 years later are still somehow weaving it into every conversation. We get it, Krista, you lived in Madrid. I mean, I'll get to that later, but I mean, that's kind of funny. What's on your mind in some language, I can't remember which language it was, but I know. Someone retweeted that and said, "Ain't no such thing as a bisexual male. My nigga, you like dick, you gay."
Okay. Definitely pisses me off.
So bi people are mad because I consider getting into a straight marriage after gay relationships to be acquiescing to heteronorm culture. Not sorry. Miley Cyrus splitting and allegedly cheating on Liam with a woman confirms that you shouldn't date bi people. Not offensive, just true. Bi is greedy and never satisfied. Hey, Tiger Bob. It doesn't surprise me that you're saying this, and your page has you crying about Brie Larson too. Stop being afraid of women who aren't afraid to deal with them and not other people. Period. Period. Bisexuality infers a gender binary that doesn't exist, so it's an outdated term, and frankly should be removed from the LGBTQIA acronym. Bisexuality often doesn't include trans or binary people. There's only queer, there's only love, which is not true. Bisexuality does include non-queer, like non-binary people. Fun fact. I understand the argument against biphobia. Also, I understand the argument for lesbians not wanting to date bisexual women. Men residue is a real thing that affects all relationships of all women who deal with men romantically. I mean, psychologically, but you can go to therapy for that. How to tell someone is really bisexual? What? Okay. Do they identify as bi? I don't know. Are you with them personally? No. Sounds like you're none of your business. Oh, I like this. Could you politely, yes, Barry. You could politely ask if they're cool like that. So if they say no, so no. And then if, let's see, they say yes, then they are really bisexual. Okay, cool, yep. And then the other side says, but, pick a side. You failed this very easy test. Please take the stairs to the left. That's it, bye. And then it says it's just a phase. They're married to a man, woman, or woman. Bye today, gay tomorrow, and it's like you failed the test. I like that so much. Thank you. Because honestly, these like stigma against bisexuality is, well, people don't want to come out and say who they are. What people think internalized biphobia is an ability to be proud of your bisexuality. What internalized biphobia in addition to that? Being convinced you're not bisexual enough. Constantly question if you're actually straight or gay. Feeling that you don't count as bisexual or LGBT anymore because your current partner's gender. Oh, that's a big one. Like, people always try to judge you if you have too many, like, if you date too many men, it's like, no, you're just trying to get attention. Like, I get attention by dating men. Okay. Feeling like you need to really prove you're really bisexual by being with people and dating people of different genders. Feeling like you're not a full member of the LGBT community unless you're in a relationship with a same-sex person. Feeling like any issues you might face with your sexual orientation are real or don't count because bisexuals only have it half as bad. I hate that argument. Prioritizing every other issue over bisexual activism because you don't believe bisexuals deserve support, resources, respect, or care as much as other minorities. That's very true. The phase, bi-het, bi women are sexually available to men, bi men are really gay, non-binary erasure, which is again not true, homosexual carrier or lesbian, you can't be privileged for the same reason you're oppressed, so you guess it's a straight relationship, bi slut, bi means two, and then I think appropriating lesbian culture is probably the biggest one. I think all people are only bi because they're afraid of really coming out the closet, and then women relationships with men aren't queer. Straight passing privilege. I mean, to a certain extent, I believe that does exist, but at the same time, like, don't be an asshole. Like, at the same time, just don't be an asshole. Like, how hard is it to not be an asshole? But you're probably wondering, like, okay, that's interesting. This is great that there's, I'm sorry about biphobia, but why should I care? Well, the thing is that bisexual people suffer more mental health and health problems than straight people and also other lesbian and gay people. About half, somewhere close to between 40 and 50% of the LGBT community identifies as bisexual, but our issues are fairly much like set to the side. Over transgender people or people of color comprise large portions of the bisexual community, with more than 40% of people of color that are LGBT identifying as bisexual, and about half of transgender people describing their sexual orientation as bisexual or queer, making those groups vulnerable to further disparities that occur at the intersections of biphobia, racism, and transphobia. Research about bisexual adults has shown that they are more likely than heterosexual adults to have problems like high cholesterol and asthma, as well as elevated levels of smoking and alcohol use, which heighten the pattern of other health problems. Bisexual women in particular face significant health disparities compared to the general population of women in the U.S., including higher rates of breast cancer and all cancers in the general population of women, higher rates of heart disease than heterosexual women, and then higher rates of obesity than heterosexual women.
bumblebees. Some of these stem from a lack of protective care. Bisexual women are less likely than homosexual women to have routine mammograms for breast cancer, and less likely than both lesbians and heterosexual women to have had Pap screen for HPV, which can cause cervical cancer. I've never had too much of a problem with my outdoors regarding my sexuality because I'm fat, so that's always like their first go-to. But who have like a lot of negative experiences that can lead them to not want to come to healthcare providers. Looks like about 33% of bisexual correspondents in this study from the UK, they felt comfortable discussing their orientation, and they felt that they experienced biphobia when they went to go access health services. Women are more likely to have been tested for HIV than heterosexual women. They also report higher behaviors that can increase the likelihood of HIV transmission, such as having anal sex and condomless sex with a non-city partner. I'm not going to. Recent studies found that biphobia contributes to bisexual men being less likely to come out and get tested for HPV or HIV, which is caused bisexual men to be disproportionately affected by HIV. In addition to low rates of human HPV screening among bisexual women. I'll try it over. In addition to lower rates of human papillomavirus screening among bisexual women, which can increase the risk of cervical cancer, bisexual men also have elevated rates of HPV, which can lead to anal cancer. Interesting. Studies show that bisexual women compared to lesbians and straight women suffer more they have higher rates of emotional stress as teenagers than straight women, double the rate of eating disorders as lesbians, higher rates of drug use than heterosexual women, higher rates of alcohol abuse, heavy drinking, and alcohol problems than lesbians or straight women, and then also bisexual women who are not out reported higher rates of contemplating suicide than heterosexual women. Both physical and mental consequences of biphobia in our society. So now that we understand the dilemma, what is the difference between bisexuality and pansexuality? Because I mean, it's a very small semantic difference, and it's going to vary from person to person. So bisexuality is basically the attraction to two or more genders. Pansexuality is attraction to all genders, or kind of like attraction to people irregardless of gender. Both those terms can be used to describe pansexuality. Big myth, like I said before, bi spaces do include non-binary people. Okay? So for this reason, we kind of see, like, I would say bisexual, pansexual, for me, it's either or would be a fine phrase for anyone to use to describe my sexuality. Like, I really don't have any gender preferences when it comes to dating or to other things. So some people may really more identify one as the other. Normally, I'm going to just say bisexual because most people actually know what that means. I feel like pansexual didn't really come into the lexicon until like 2012 and 2014 or 2015. It became big when Miley Cyrus came out as pansexual. That's when it became like big. She did that with also twerking to bring it to the American mainstream culture. If someone says Dom's bisexual, I'd be like, yeah, that's true. If someone says Dom's pansexual, I'd be like, yeah, that's true. If someone says Dom's straight, I'm like, no, that's not true. And then someone says Dom's lesbian, it's not true. I feel like it just kind of like, that's probably the easiest way to explain to someone kind of difference, yeah. So I mean, it's like some people, I guess, I don't know who's, again, I mean, you have to ask people, but most people I know who are bisexual or pansexual say it's like the same thing for the most part. I mean, people just always assume that there's non-binary exclusion, but like it really isn't. Like it's just, I mean, I feel like I just like to use the term bisexual just because it's the term people know. Really, I don't feel like having to give a dissertation of like explaining like the etymology of words. And then like, why is it only, and bi means two. Okay, I know that, but as we learn more in society, constantly the meaning of words can change. That's why I was going to say it's happened here now. So even though, you know what, still we don't even have much entertaining about bisexuality or about pansexuality, but like these things have been around since the beginning of time. And we're going to go through a brief history of bisexuality. So here's a brief history of bisexuality. So We talked about ancient Greece in the other video about understanding homosexuality and about pride. So if you haven't seen that video before, I'll link it down below here. Ancient Greece, yeah. It was expected for younger men to have relationships with older men who were like married, which I thought was interesting. It was meant to give them experience, wisdom, and it certainly didn't impact their chances for later for marriage, which is interesting. Ancient Japan, okay. It was allegedly common among famous samurai or warrior class. Young boys would be trained by older samurai in complicated codes of love and battle, complicated codes of honor and battle. It was apparently expected that the two would become lovers. This was called shudo, and is supposed to result in a lifelong bond of friendship, even though the sexual component was expected to end once the young man came of age and sought a wife. Fascinating.
Native Americans are frequently left out of the histories of bisexuality, but the mythos of two-spirit people, members of a tribe who are born with both the female and male spirit, indicates that the idea was present in its own way. I love it. Two-spirit people were considered sacred in their androgyny, although Spanish onlookers condemned them as sodomites. They were leaders, took on both female and male roles in society, and were treated with respect by the majority of tribes. However, a line between gender identity and sexual identity would lead here to people. Two-spirit people could often have both same-sex and heterosexual relationships, but the concept of the two-spirit is often used today to discuss transgender and androgyny history rather than bisexuality. Ooh, the illegal 1800s. Ooh, what's this? The word bisexual people currently use it was coined by Charles Gilbert Chaddock in his translation of Psychopathia Sexualis. So actually, okay, so England had a hot anti-sodomy law. It was the Burglary Act, which made sodomy illegal. Stayed on the books in various forms until 1861. Consensual homosexual acts weren't made legal in the UK until 1967. So my mom was born. Like, that's not that long ago. Because we did talk before, again, in the the homosexual video, that in the US, homosexuality was considered a mental disorder up until 1973. But also, bisexuality was viewed as a mental disorder to be treated with castration, medication, electroshock therapy, hypnosis, and whatever you had on hand. Entire industry. 5 machines that can convert bisexuals or homosexuals to normalcy. Freud's theory of innate bisexuality. Interesting. So let's see. During Sigmund Freud, Bob, the father of psychoanalysis, of course, put forward a controversial theory about bisexuality in a book in the 1920s. The idea of innate bisexuality, based on knowledge in the womb, human babies have hermaphroditic, so intersex is the right word, intersex. Freud argued that attraction to both sexes had its root in a developmental period where floating in ectoplasm, we weren't one gender or the other. Freud thought homosexuality came out of any kind of trauma that prevented people from developing normally, and famously attempted hypnosis as a cure.
It was all good, then he went straight homophobic, which sucks.
The Kinsey scale. Okay, so another part of almost the first understanding of bisexuality was part of a spectrum of human sexual orientation came with the pioneering of behavioral scientist Alfred Kinsey. Kinsey's famous Kinsey reports, based on thousands of interviews, were groundbreaking in a number of ways. The largest thing was his Kinsey scale. So it was like this scale of 1 to 6, with 0 being completely heterosexual and then 6 being completely homosexual. So not only did Biley have a name, it now had a way of self-defining. So it was like, okay, so somewhat heterosexual, somewhat homosexual. So you can slide on the scale. And of course, we have the Stonewall riots, of course. We were there too. By 1974, bisexuality was considered in. Bisexual chic, where there were stories about like David Bowie and Elton John. So yeah, it's like we have, we had bisexual artists like, let's see, Anna Paquin, Lindsay Lohan, oh yeah, that was a big, like, broke the headlines when that happened, when Lindsay Lohan had was dating. That brings us up to modern day. So I guess with knowing all the history and knowing that bisexuality or homosexuality is not a disease or a disorder, why is there still so much stigma in our society today in 2020 about bisexuality? So there's, I mean, just being someone who's bisexual or pansexual, there's a lot of stigma coming from a lot of sides. I feel like most of the stigma coming from queer spaces is just a phase, like you need to pick a side. It's not, I mean, not so much anymore now, and I've never had that much, like since I've come out, I came out maybe in 2016, I want to say. I never had that much stigma when I came out, but I know growing up, personally for me, I remember going through this phase where I just started like entangling with teenage boys, and I was questioning, you know, like, I don't know, like this isn't really, I don't know, like I may like women, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know how to like go about it. I remember this friend I had was a lesbian. She was like, well, you're like talking about someone else, so I don't really know. You mess around with girls and boy, you're doing too much. Like you need to pick a side. And you're just like, okay, well, I'm not saying anything to her about. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be like seen as that messy person, which I think is partly it's only from both like a lot of straight people and gay people. Not gay people, I want to say like lesbian gay people. Think that you're messy, or think that you're greedy. I think that's someone I've heard a lot. Greedy. You're really greedy, but I mean, I feel like it shouldn't be an issue. I think every relationship is different. So some people may be strictly monogamous. Some people are into like polyamory, both straight and, you know, bisexual, gay, lesbian, you name it. Therefore, we're gonna more likely cheat on you, so you shouldn't date us.
Just like, it's like a weird fear on both sides. Like, the straight people fear that you're treating them with someone who is like lesbian or a gay man, like respectively for genders, and then the lesbians and gay men for the gender cheat on them with like a straight woman or a straight man. Which I'm like, why should it matter? If they gon' cheat, they gon' cheat. Like, period. And everyone of all sexualities cheats. I just want to put that out there too. Like, like this is not securely a bisexual problem.
Oh yeah, I hate that. Confused.
No, I'm not confused. Like, it's just, I'm sexually fluid. I'm open to connection. Oh yeah, I feel like that's so weird. It's hard too, because I feel like some people think, since you're like not, like, since I'm not very, like, since I am very friendly to most people I meet, that they think that you're like desperate, and it's like, no, I'm just open to connection. Like, I'm open to what is out there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and we just want to address the phase thing too, because it's like, okay, look. Can we just, this one of those things in me, like, why can't we just accept people that are different, okay? For some people, bisexuality is a phase. Like, your sexuality can change. Like, people are not always going to be one sexuality all the time. People can, like, discover new things about themselves and change, okay? So maybe for some people, it was just a phase. For some people, you know, it was just a phase for them, and they either are maybe straight or, like, homosexual or some other gender oriented, like, or maybe asexual even. Like, you know, for some people it is a phase. Some people, a lot of people, it's not though. If someone's saying they're bisexual, just believe them, whether it's a phase or not. It's none of your business. It doesn't matter. They're saying they're bisexual. It's all that matters. So if it's not being queer enough, like, oh yeah, like, especially if you're like a bi woman, you don't have like a whole lot of girlfriends in your repertoire of like romance. They're like, okay, so like you're a fake lesbian. I'm like,
well, I just can't tell who likes me, period. So unless someone says something, I don't know what to do.
Like, I don't know how to approach people. Like, I'm just such a, like, I'm a weirdo. Like, like, luckily I'm like a cute weirdo, but like, I'm very awkward in person. Like, once I get comfortable, it's all good, but like, in person, it's like, at first I'm like, I feel like the biggest thing that still grinds my gears to this day is that, like, I literally had someone on the phone tell me that, like, oh yeah, women can be bisexual and men can't. I'm looking like, sir, like, if we were on the phone, I would slap you in the fucking face. Like, that's just disrespectful. So I want to talk about what the difference is, why it's perceived that way, because honestly, when you look at the society again, everything's from a cisgender heterosexual male perspective, right? So from that frame of reference, okay, in their minds, a lot of cisgender, especially heterosexual men, but there has been some
how entitled men feel to our bodies and to our time, and because of misogyny and patriarchy, right? So when there's two women interacting, to them it's like sexy because women's bodies are so sexualized and objectified in our cultures, right? So they see a woman's bisexuality being for them, like being useful to them, as in, oh yeah, I'm gonna go down for threesomes. And it's like some people may like that, some people may not. Like, you know, varies person to person, so you can't set someone who is bisexual to just always be like, oh yeah, let's do a threesome, because they may not be into that. Like, I can't say we're all into that. Like, so that's probably why, like, it's not really about accepting bisexual, because like I've never heard anyone really try to like be like, so how can we help the bisexual community? No one really does that. They're just like, okay. So now bisexual men, it's because I feel like, again, from this, if we're looking at things from this like mainstream cisgender heteronormative lens, toxic masculinity. So right, toxic masculinity sees women as objects and as like for their pleasure, so that's why it's easy to like accept like sapphic sexuality, like women on women. But when it comes to men, they're supposed to be big strong men that are very heterosexual. And so if a man has any attraction to another man, he's just automatically gay, because they don't see women, like men, having the same kind of sexual as like they don't. Okay, in a place like this, the mainstream society doesn't see men as capable of having the same kind of like open sexual fluidity that women do, because women are seen as more sexual and open in our society, and they're supposedly allowed more space to be expressive and experiment that men aren't, if that makes sense. So don't be that person, okay? Bisexual men are valid, and we love you, bisexual men. And also, if you're a bisexual man, like, please comment down below, because I want to be friends. Possibly get married and have more babies. Why not? Like, why not? Why not? Now the question is, okay, now that we know all this information, what can you do? What can you do to help? What can you do to help change society to be more inclusive? Okay, so there's options for if you are a straight ally, if you are a fellow LGBT person, or if you are someone who is questioning your sexuality. I say questioning your sexuality. I mean, everyone can always just do all these things, but like if you're questioning your sexuality, there's no rush. Like, just take your time, feel it out, if you maybe have a therapist, I would talk to them about how you feel. They should be very open to expressing yourself, and just be open to the possibilities. Again, there's like no rush to label yourself. I think I didn't officially come out till like 2016, so like until I was like 23, so that's pretty late. It's pretty late in life for people like thinking you're just into guys, which I'm like, it's not true at all. It's not true at all. I'm a big flamer. No, I'm just kidding. Other ways you can help is just simply speak out against biphobia, like correct people when they're saying things that are ignorant. Like, it's always giving to LGBT organizations like that are helping LGBT youth, like the Human Rights Campaign, which I'll link down below to their website. I'll link them to some more LGBT-friendly charities and movements that you can be part of to help out the people. Make sure that we can advocate. People can always make sure that healthcare can make sure they're providing sex-positive resources to sexual health at their places. Be, inclusive, be respectful, just all around, just be a nice person. Like, that's what we have to do for real for this. Just don't be an asshole. Advocate and tell people when they're wrong, and just don't be an asshole. That's pretty much the thesis there. So yay, awesome. If you got this far the video, thank you so much for watching. Please leave any of your please Please leave any of your comments and questions down beloe. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And peace.